grab too high, you don't get a good enough bounce. So you want to bring it right about here. And what you'll notice, all I do here is it rests right here on this part of your finger. These guys aren't even used. These are for longer. When you get more advanced, you're going to use these guys to control the stick bounce. But for normal everyday stuff, all you do is just like this. And where you want to know, you notice see how I kind of creep up and down the stick? Because if I'm here, I'm not getting the right bounce. It's too tight of a bounce. You want to get it where it's just really loose, where you can almost go just like this. But then so you can get your bounce nice and easy. And I probably adjust quite a bit. This is called traditional, left-handed, and you don't use your arm at all. No, that's a no-no. This is a no-no. This is a no-no. You just want to be relaxed. Arms out about here. Always in the middle of the drum. So you're going to start like this, and left hand, if you notice, it's just in the wrist. I'm not moving anything else. So you can do all your rhythms. That's pair drill. And you always want to practice open. This is an open stroke, which is called a single stroke. I'm going left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right. And I am thinking left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right. But then when you get going too fast, I can't say left, right, left, left fast enough. But you just get to the right point. And you want to open, close, like a long stroke roll. The most important rudiment is long stroke roll. You will start it open, really slow, and it's just a bounce. Left, left, right, right, left, left. I'm doing this as a single. That's a single. I'm still in the single stroke roll. I'm actually tapping each time. Now I've converted to a double, where I'm only hitting once for every two, and then that way you go faster. Faster, faster. But if you notice,
wow,
it's just wrist.
Just wrist.
Wrist, no arm action, strictly. And it's loose. I'm barely hanging on. Now we talked about the left hand. This is the right hand. The right hand, we don't use these three fingers. You basically just grip it with these two, nice and easy. And you want it to be loose, really loose, right? This is a loose action. So when I hit it, and you don't want to be up like this, you don't want to be down like this. You almost right here, and you just come up off of the rims. And so the right hand is like this. No arm, anything, just in the wrist. It's going to feel awkward because you're over. You're not like this. Some guys will hold a stick like this. No, you want to roll it all the way over so your knuckles are up. And if you notice, you follow through. And your drum set should be just kind of an easy flow. I'm going to have to move around like this, but you don't want to have to come way up here or way down here. So. Now the bass drum, which I was just showing my brother, is typically people seem to want to put their heel down on the pedal with these. I don't do that. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I go on the ball of my foot and my heels never touches the ground. So I'm doing this. His spring action isn't what I'm used to, because I could usually get this guy going pretty fast just like that. Almost as fast as you could almost do with a double bass. I don't like double bass. To me, that's cheating. But if you can do this, so if you're doing a rhythm, my heel never touches the floor. So you're almost like bouncing, like almost dancing. Mm-hmm. Also with the hi-hat, same thing. You can put your heel down. But I always do it like this because I like to be able to. This hi-hat's not quite the same as an acoustic type. It doesn't give you quite the same action that you're going to get. You're going to get a better action off of a regular hi-hat. I can't do it. But also, this is traditional. A basic rhythm that you can see in lots of rock and roll country is just 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3. And when I'm teaching, I teach them to say it. You got to say 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 3, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. And you're thinking, and you can switch if you want to get it's not how fast you play, it's accuracy. Okay, my brother just bought one of these electronic drum set. I'm typically use acoustic, but you still want to set your electric set up like you would an acoustic set, drum set. And one of the basics that I believe is you should do is just rest your arms on your knees, set your throne to height where you're comfortable with. You're not way out here with your feet like this. If you notice, I'm pretty perpendicular, straight up and down to where I'm just like this. So put your hands like this. This is about where your snare should fall. If you're got your sticks like this, you're gonna want your snare in this area, not over here where your arms are extended, not over here where you're in right by your gut. It's gonna be right in this area. A standard snare is about 14 inches. This is probably what, 6 or 8 inches. So, but you're fine. So I'm off just a little bit, but this is still okay. So here's your snare. And you want to be able to play the height of your snare you want to get. You don't want it to where your sticks are like this or like this. You still want them pretty standard. So it's going to be right in your lap area, right about here. You do typically, if you're going to play standard like this, you're going to angle your snare probably about 10 degrees. It won't be flat. Now, if you're going to do overhand, you don't necessarily have to have it angled like this. You could have it flatter. Because overhand, like doing your rim shots, and to do a rim shot, you're gonna hit the rim and this at the same time. So those are rim shots. And then without rim shots. But, and when you're playing in a band, like a rock band, they like that kick with the rim shot. It gives it more of a drive if you're doing a song that's got a lot of drive to it. So you'll. I'm doing overhand. I typically do that when I'm in a heavy rock band, but if I'm doing jazz and things, I'll be like this. And because you have a little more, to me, it's just a little more freedom this way. And you can do your rudimental kind of things a little bit better. Okay, so that's the snare placement. Bass drum, however you want to do that. Now, depending on your kit, depending where your writing toms, these are your writing toms, the ones that are normally on top. Depending on where they're positioned, you don't want them way up here where you got to do a big stretch. You want to be able to just, in your floor tom, I usually put almost in the same height as the snare. Or it could even be a little bit lower. But I usually keep it flat. Not angled, because you're going to be over here at this angle. And if you notice, my reach is kind of natural. I don't have to bend forward to reach, because you're going to, all your action, you want to be able to do everything like this. I'm not moving my body, upper body at all. It's all arm, like this. So now the hi-hat, you want to put the hi-hat pretty much right here. Mine acoustic is, I'm probably a little bit higher over. I didn't want to mess around with this as much. My brother's not as tall as I am, so it's going to depend on your height too. You can't just get on anybody's set and play. It's not easy to do because your throne has to be set a certain height. If you notice my throne, I'm perpendicular, pretty much 90 degree. I'm not way up or whatever. But your hi-hat basically is going to be, you want to be able to use your hi-hat here. It's not going to be way down here, so my sticks will do this bit. I won't be able to use my hi-hat. So you want to make sure your hi-hat's high enough, and you sort of gonna, when you play a hi-hat, you're gonna be straight. This is gonna be straight, not like this, not like this. You sort of want a pretty extension straight like this. So you're, and if I can do, typically your snare is gonna be on the 2 and the 4. So when you're doing your 16th notes, if you notice, it's almost, so if I'm, still all just wrist. I'm not doing my arms up and down like this. And so if you want to play over, snare and placement, riding toms, floor, your cymbal crash, your ride cymbal, this is your ride. You typically don't use your ride cymbal as a crash at all. I've got a large 20-inch, it's called a flat, doesn't have a bell. And without the bell, it just gives me a nice straight ride when I'm doing a straight ride. You typically only use the tip and you're playing anywhere from right in this area. You don't want to strike it like this. Your ride doesn't do very well striking it with the side of the tip. Now your crash, that's how you hit your crash. And you can also play on the bell. This is called a bell, but this doesn't have, it doesn't sound, the acoustic will give me a bell sound. It doesn't, because you'd be going, but this one, and I switch from overhand. So a lot of times when I'm playing, if I'm starting to do this, I switch traditional. But as I get heavy, I switch over. I don't know all this fancy stuff where the guys twirl their sticks. I don't do all of that because I don't want to drop my stick. I used to do some crazy things like that when I was playing. I'd actually roll them. And I could do that with both the left hand and right hand, but I've lost my stick. But of course, when you're playing, you've got two or three sticks that you stick sitting here all around you. So if you do lose a stick, you got access to another stick that you pull out. That's if you're performing. Bass drum, I like not a super heavy bass drum. I like a loud. My acoustic, I got a 22-inch bass, which is large. A lot of guys use a 20-inch. Actually, I take it back. Mine's a 24-inch bass. I've got a slinger in set, but that's about it as far as setup. If you got a cowbell goes here. Typically, it's because you're going to strike your cowbell here. You could put it anywhere else. I've got bar chimes that I put right about here so that if I'm playing and I will do some soft stuff, I just wipe my bar chimes like this here, and I put them here. I'm left-handed, actually ambidextrous, but I do mostly everything left-handed. So when I lead more with my left than I do my right. Right-handed people tend to lead more with your right, but depending on the run that you're doing down the drum, that's why I like to cheat and do Swiss it's not cheating, but Swiss triplets. I lead with my left. But when you're going down, it's going to play differently depending on your rhythm that you're doing. 16th notes or half note. If you notice, if I start with my left hand, 1 and 2, I got to reach over. But if you start with your right hand, so there's different ways that you can actually play. That's why you want to concentrate on being never always leading with the same. Because if I'm going down the drum this way, I want this hand ready. If I'm doing just half notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and if I start with the left hand, I got to cross over. So those are techniques that you got to practice. And it's not about speed, it's all about accuracy. If you are learning a new tempo from something, I remember MacArthur Park. And I had a hard time learning that rhythm, but I slowed it down as far as I could. And then you got the hi-hats you got to throw in there. But it took me forever to learn that. But it's slow it down. Crap. And we were talking earlier about Inagata de Vita. Whoops. It's simple. it's not crazy. You don't have to be, I guess, flamboyant or crazy about it. You can do just so much just by and a couple of cadences. One that we made up in high school. That was one of them. And then Florida State, I like Florida State's cadence, which is you can jazz it up a little bit if you want. But that was just their basic cadence to bring the band into the field, which was nice. And it's nothing really fancy. It's just kind of real casual. Even you don't have to work real hard at it once you get it. Key is being loose. Be loose. Be real loose. And also the position of where you put your hand. Some guys want to grab way back here, and you can't get the good. You actually will work. I guess I never really noticed it, but I do. I'll work up and down the stick depending on what I'm doing at the time. Except this one stays pretty good. And all I'm doing are these fingers. And like I said, knuckle over. Not this way, that way. It's just and only in the wrist. That's what you're going to have to have a hard time getting used to, is just using the wrist. And that's it, in less than one.
All right, thank you. Very good.